Do you ever feel like you're not quite living up to this idealized version of who you really strive and aim and want to be? And I'm talking on, an emotion, mental, and action level as a person. Because, I'll tell you what, I'm not really there yet either. Like, just honestly. And that's the beauty of getting triggered or having things kind of like upset you emotionally because, well, they're showing you where you can shore up your vibration, your mentality, your emotions, your inner world, your belief systems, and really kind of just actually do something about it. And I have a pretty interesting story for you, actually, which happened to me fairly recently. And of course, it involves a girl, So, and I'm not going to quite get into specifics about her, but basically, she was someone that I would, see on every once in a while, like every several weeks or whatever, every month or couple months. It would be pretty intermittent. But she was just hella pretty, and she was always dressed so nicely, just like fashion just on point every time. And that's one of the things I, admired about her. So, over time I kind of, started liking her and whatnot, even though we barely hardly ever interacted. And then basically we finally got a chance to, just talk in a sense because we were sort of near each other at that moment in time, and kind of got a little bit of, built a little bit of rapport and whatnot. But basically, I'm after that, I'm like kind of just more thinking about it and more kind of anticipating and having that desire, that wanting, building it up in my head. And then basically, more recently, I go and I look on her Instagram and I find out that she has a boyfriend. And well, not gonna lie, that it was very suckish. And we'll kind of get to that in a moment, but we're gonna step back again. So recently I did see her again, which was this was before I looked up her Instagram. But I saw her recently, and then we had a simple, quick exchange, and she had a energy or a vibe about her that was a bit more. It was a little bit higher. I could sense it felt a little more friendly or open than usual, and I would assume that's because, of course, we actually got to talk and get to know each other in a small way. So I kind of obviously assumed that it was, oh, maybe she's kind of attracted to me now, which not the case. But regardless, something that I noticed in that moment beforehand is my mood was changing because of her. And what had happened that day is, well, basically, I was, at work and tired, waking up early, dealing with customers, people like being needy and asking me for things. And, I'm just being all moody and low vibrational, you can say, just not really quite feeling it. And then suddenly, oh, here's this person. Now I'm gonna be a good hard worker, and I'm gonna be happy and joyful, and I'm gonna be all good and great and awesome. Well, that's really, it showed me immediately. I realized this quite immediately in the moment that, like, that's not at all how I want to be. I don't want to suddenly, be, this version of myself because of someone else. That's hella cringe, not gonna lie. I should really ultimately want to be this. You should want to be this, you know, good or idealized or better or whatever person for your own sake. And not forcing it, not like ignoring or glossing over negative emotions, of course, as always, but to strive to be this way, to be, I don't know, like a hard worker, a joyful person, someone who doesn't get annoyed or irritated easily, someone who's, staying on the positive side. That should be something that you idealize and strive for your own sake, because it's how you prefer to be. Not because, oh, there's someone there and now I gotta perform and they're gonna like me if I'm all goody two shoes and being a good boy. Like, no. I mean, that just illuminated for me that I'm still operating on this performance based mentality where I'm only worthy if I'm earning it and performing for it, instead of just realizing that my value is in fact intrinsic without me having to do a single thing. So there's that, right? So there's that. And then this got even farther. So, like, I'm all thinking about her, right? And I decide to finally look up her Instagram and see, like, hey, does she have a boyfriend or not? And I find out, oh, she does have a boyfriend. And something else that I see in her Instagram is pretty much just like a life that is looking really, really well lived, really full. Like, seeing a lot of shots of just, I don't know, social interaction with her friends, her going out and doing things that look fun, looking like just an amazing, really well choreographed and put together Instagram. And of course, what did I do? I compared it to my life. I compared it to not just my life, but my Instagram, and just, immediately self-deprecating, immediately being like, wow, I wasn't even good enough for her anyways, look at me, and I'm like barely figuring out this social thing. I'm barely stepping out back into life over these past few years, and it's just all about the comparison. And then I'm like putting myself down and feeling extremely emotional about it, feeling really, really, really negative, feeling really self-defeated, feeling really just out of it, completely demotivated, sitting there being like, oh, well, the type of girl that I really strive to want, or whatever the hell you want, however you want to say it, the kind of girl that I want, I just don't, it's basically what I'm saying is I don't deserve her, because I don't know why, because I don't have a bunch of external markers of success, and it's nonsense. It's really nonsense. I completely, in that moment, completely abandoned myself, and just, just, my emotions and vibration just took a nosedive, just like that. It's like someone just flipped a switch. And, you know, I've been there many times in the past where I'm sitting and thinking about my life and where it's at, and just feeling immense levels of anxiety. So at this point in my life, it's so much easier for me to recover from that, to get back from that, and to realize what truly matters. So it's like, sure, I had a past where I had to perform and earn conditional love. Sure, I spent several years afterwards, confining and sheltering myself, and hiding away from the world through, familiar routes that felt comforting, and like video games, or just staying at home, isolating myself, not, putting myself out there. Sure, I did that. But what I gained is an immense inner world. It's my passion to learn about subjects like self-worth and self-empowerment. And so I've been doing that. And I mean, how else better to do that other than to go through experiences like these, and to really, really face this self-appointed fear, self-appointed unworthiness, to really sit there, look it in the face, and to come back from that, to see the truth in it. Because, I mean, ultimately, again, as I say, negative emotions are illuminating for you the belief systems that are not at all in congruency with who you are. It's simple as that. But also, another thing is like, the reason why it feels terrible and painful and bad is because it's not true. So as I was sitting there and crapping on myself and saying, I don't deserve someone who's lived a full life or someone who's really well put together, you know, because, oh, I don't have it like that. Well, that's just not true at all. I have so much going for me in many other ways, and I can build a life if I want to. I can go and live a fuller life or what have you. And I have lived a life. It's not like I've never done anything. Like, it's not like I've never had experiences ever. And I'm sure the same goes for you. If you're ever, resonating with this and thinking about your own life and where you've been, like, there's no way you've never done anything. And even if you have, whatever. You can do things. You can face your fears. You can put yourself out there and you can go and do things. It doesn't have to be like a perfectly curated Instagram. It doesn't have to be in such a way that proves to others in a showcase of how great your life is. But you can open yourself up and you can change and you can do things. And it's pretty easy when you realize that fear is just, false evidence appearing real. It's not real. You're completely fine. And you're indestructible. So there's no way that you could ever really be in harm's way unless, you're doing something really stupid. But, that's a whole nother tangent I'm not going to get into right now. But I learned so much from how easily I crapped on myself, and then to sit there and bounce back from it is a beautiful experience. The more I face that in a integrative way, is the more I heal and let go of it. Because if I'm going to sit there and try to be like, oh, I need to be better, I need to be perfect, I need to not be like this. No, that's not the answer. No, the answer is to sit there and say, like, this happened. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing that I got triggered. It's a good thing that this happened to me. It's a good thing that I felt so terrible. And why? Because it's telling me that I'm still holding on so tightly to belief systems that do not serve me. And that's just how it is. So if you're getting triggered, good. Because then you can analyze it and you can say, I have this opportunity here to really heal and let go via understanding the belief, honoring that it served you in some way in the past, and in this now moment, as it triggers you, you're still defining that it somehow makes sense to be this way. It somehow serves you to have this emotion. Why would it serve you? Look into that, What would you have to believe is true about yourself in regards to this situation in order to feel this way? For me, what I had to believe serves me is that I'm not good enough. But that's not true. How can you be not good enough at being yourself? Nobody other than you can do it. It doesn't make any sense. And also, beliefs of like, I'm not going to make it. It's not going to happen for me. I don't deserve this. All not true. The pain you feel around beliefs like that are telling you that they are not true. It wouldn't be painful otherwise. The pain, the emotional pain, is the direct signal, the result of you accepting a false narrative. It's literally like a frequency, like a ping, like a notification, like data that's immediately coming from the fact that it's not true. It's not true at all. And the only reason that you might have evidence for it being true is because you have been asserting that it's true. And so, the universe isn't going to contradict you. You say, I'm not, going to happen. My life's not going to happen. The universe is going to be like, okay, bud, your life's not going to happen because you are the universe. You are your reality. Everything outside of you is all of this, everything you experience from birth till death is all happening inside of your head. Everything outside of you is a mirror. It cannot contradict you. It only mirrors what you put out. Everything you experience is because of the belief systems you have going on. And I understand it can be so difficult sometimes when, it's such a powerful illusion. That's why only the master level souls incarnate on this planet, because the level of forgetfulness for who you truly are, the level of dropping into this illusion of how real it feels is immense. It's powerful, but that's where you really, 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 really learn how to get back to who you really are. And so if you're ever feeling those negative emotions, I urge you to look at them, not to buy into them, not to make them your verdict. It's not true. It's not. You can have a beautiful, amazing life. That's just how it is. Miracles are the norm. And everything that is, basically your vibration, everything that you quote unquote deserve or things that you desire are in fact doing their best to get to you. And so the only reason why they wouldn't be is because you're holding them back with the I'm not enough story, the it won't happen for me story, the it's hard to get that story, the it's difficult and unlikely and I have to work for it, I have to earn it. No, you do not. You are the universe. Infinite and extraordinary abundance is your birthright. And that's just how it is. That's how it is. I assert to you right now, that is how it is. I don't care what the world thinks that, oh, life's hard. Gotta grind it out. Gotta do all the hard things. No, you don't. You just have to take action on your passion to the best of your ability. Take it as far as you can go. And completely and utterly drop the expectations and the insistence on the outcome. That's all there is to it. You do it. You confront your negative beliefs. You let them go, etc. That's how it is. That's the best way to get to anything and everything you're trying to do is that formula I just gave you there. So, if there's anything you can learn from me, it's just like, just bounce back as best you can and realize that we're all going through all kinds of things like this. So I know you can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Easy. Because I'll tell you what, the levels of I'm not enough and depression of it's not going to happen for me. I've been in the trenches. I'll tell you what. So basically, that's all I have for you right now. If there's anything you can learn from me, it's that your limitation becomes your liberation. Everything that you used as an excuse to hold yourself back from who you truly are is exactly what you need to look at, honor, and allow. And integrate, let go of through that integration process in order to move forward in your life. And as always, thank you for watching.